Talent hits a target no one else can hit, genius hits a target no one else can see. Compassion is the basis of morality. Mostly it is loss which teaches us about the worth of things. Every man takes the limits of his own field of vision for the limits of the world. Happiness consists in frequent repetition of pleasure. It is difficult to find happiness within oneself, but it is impossible to find it anywhere else. The person who writes for fools is always sure of a large audience. One should use common words to say uncommon things. A man can be himself only so long as he is alone, and if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom, for it is only when he is alone that he is really free. Life is a constant process of dying. We forfeit 3/4 of ourselves in order to be like other people. A sense of humor is the only divine quality of man. A high degree of intellect tends to make a man unsocial. Treat a work of art like a prince, let it speak to you first. Religion is the masterpiece of the art of animal training, for it trains people as to how they shall think. Great men are like eagles, and build their nest on some lofty solitude. So the problem is not so much to see what nobody has yet seen, as to think what nobody has yet thought concerning that which everybody sees. Life swings like a pendulum backward and forward between pain and boredom. No rose without a thorn, but many a thorn without a rose. Hope is the confusion of the desire for a thing with its probability. We can regard our life as a uselessly disturbing episode in the blissful repose of nothingness. Marrying means to have one's rights and double one's duties. The safest way of not being very miserable is not to expect to be very happy. Every parting gives a foretaste of death, every reunion a hint of the resurrection. The shortness of life, so often lamented, may be the best thing about it. Wealth is like seawater, the more we drink, the thirstier we become, and the same is true of fame. Change alone is eternal, perpetual, immortal. Almost all of our sorrows spring out of our relations with other people. There is no more mistaken path to happiness than worldliness. If we were not all so interested in ourselves, life would be so uninteresting that none of us would be able to endure it. To feel envy is human, to savor schadenfreude is devilish. We seldom think of what we have, but always of what we lack. Faith is like love, it does not let itself be forced. After your death, you will be what you were before your birth. Ordinary people merely think how they shall spend their time, a man of talent tries to use it. He who writes carelessly confesses thereby at the very outset that he does not attach much importance to his own thoughts. Reading is thinking with someone else's head instead of one's own. Politeness is to human nature what warmth is to wax. The business of the novelist is not to relate great events, but to make small ones interesting. Music is the melody whose text is the world. Man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills. To find out your real opinion of someone, judge the impression you have when you first see a letter from them. The more unintelligent a man is, the less mysterious existence seems to him. What a man is contributes much more to his happiness than what he has or how he is regarded by others. For the world is hell, and men are on the one hand the tormented souls and on the other the devils in it. Life is short and truth works far and lives long, let us speak the truth. Everyone takes the limits of his own vision for the limits of the world. For where did Dante get the material for his hell, if not from this actual world of ours? Each day is a little life. That I could clamber to the frozen moon, and draw the ladder after me. Animals hear about death for the first time when they die. Solitude will be welcomed or endured or avoided, according as a man's personal value is large or small. If God made this world, then I would not want to be the God. It is full of misery and distress that it breaks my heart. No one writes anything worth writing, unless he writes entirely for the sake of his subject. Men need some kind of external activity, because they are inactive within. Night gives a black look to everything, whatever it may be. Truth is most beautiful undraped. If the immediate and direct purpose of our life is not suffering, then our existence is the most ill-adapted to its purpose in the world. Honor has not to be won, it must only not be lost. Marrying means to grasp blindfolded into a sack hoping to find out an eel out of an assembly of snakes. Buying books would be a good thing if we also could buy the time to read them. Any foolish boy can stamp on a beetle, but all the professors in the world cannot make a beetle. Why is it that, in spite of all the mirrors in the world, no one really knows what he looks like? Today it is bad, and day by day it will get worse until at last the worst of all arrives. The two enemies of human happiness are pain and boredom.